What else? What else?
We're
What
live.
else is here? Okay, okay. Refreshing
Said
para
give me a minute lang pangga to fetch you the introduction na. We can start. We're live now.
Yun ko nga. Yun, I can see it already. All right. Okay.
Dahil nakatag ako, hindi na kailangan i-share, ano? Automatic na siya.
Yes, sir. But you can start a watch party.
Okay, let me just... Paano ba ito i-watch party? Or this is watch party already? I think so.
Do you need the long one or the short one, boys?
Whatever you have.
Searching it. All right.
Click the video first and then click the share, and there's an option there, watch party.
Do you need the long one or the short one, boys?
Alam ko na yung watch party na yun. Pero, save video.
Bukan natin.
Pero kung ginawa ko, shinare ko lang. Yun lang ang kaya ng powers ko.
Yeah, I saw that you already shared it, sir.
Okay.
Asan na ba yun? Nawala ata. Ba't nawala? I can't see it.
It's there. Na-share na nga niya na eh.
Yeah, for some reason, I can't see it.
Baka nasa timeline, you have to approve it. Maybe it's in your settings. It's already live na, boys.
Come on, it's live now. There you go. There you go. There you go.
Right.
Yep. All right, done. We're ready. Okay, should we begin? Break a leg?
Yes.
All right. Okay, welcome everybody to our Friday evening webinar. This month, we're going to talk about entrepreneurship, and we're very lucky to kick it off a good friend of ours. Actually, we have known this guy from the early onset of my career. So we have right now our guest speaker. His name is James Fantone, and he is the director of the Academy for Creating Enterprise Philippines. James Osorio Fantone is he is also known as the first Filipino personally trained by Michael E. Gerber from San Diego, California. He is also the author, Michael E. Gerber, of the famous book for entrepreneurship entitled The E-Myth Visited. He is also the president and chief trainer of Next Level Training and Consulting Incorporated. He is known for his wits. You will enjoy. He is the author of the word edutainment. I can't forget that. So with virtual clapping of hands, let's now welcome James Fantone. James, how are you? Magandang gabi. Gabi na ba?
Thank you so much. I am joining you from Cebu. And
okay, kagandahan ng Zoom is wherever you are, parang Star Trek, Star Wars lang. So James, just to kick it off, so marami sigurong nanonood ngayon. Ano ba yung ACE? Kasi ang alam kong ACE kasi yung ACE hardware, right? And a lot of maybe even members of ours or their friends would like to understand ano ba yung ACE? What does it stands for? No, what does it does? And sino talaga yung siniserve ng Academy for Creating Enterprise? Maybe we can start from there. And maybe after that, I'd like to know you deeper para sa ating mga kasama. You know, how did you start with this one? Saan ka ba nanggaling? So why don't we start with that question perhaps? What is the
Right.
Academy for Creating Enterprise?
Thank you. Well, first of all, thank you so much, Erwin, Boyser. Parang nanibago ako, Erwin Boy.
Boys na lang, boys. Kaya
Boys.
naninindig din balahibo ko na buong pangalan ko talaga tinatawag. Ano? Boys na lang, boys.
Yeah, I remember when I first met you, yun agad ang una instruction mo sa akin. Just call me Boys. All right. And also, of course, I would like to thank Ayo for this wonderful invitation. And of course, I'm also joined by Lloyd Gamba, one of our regional coordinators. And I know that the rest of the regional coordinators are silently sharing and probably praying that people will watch. So I think our prayers will be answered tonight. But thank you for that very first question, my friend. ACE actually stand for Academy for Creating Enterprise. And so from the name itself, Academy, we are actually a school or an educational program. The Academy, so marami siyang nickname eh. So sa Pilipinas, mas sikat yung ACE na nickname. In the US and in other countries, and now we're also beginning to use it more and more, Academy. If you talk to the founder of the Academy, he would always use as a nickname Academy. But of course, the complete name is Academy for Creating Enterprise. The organization was founded 20 years ago. Can you believe that, my friend? 20 years ago.
Wow.
Batang-bata pa si Boyser nung nakilala ko sa Academy.
That was a few pounds ago.
I know. Well, probably not a lot of people know, but Boyser actually joined the Academy earlier than me. So that's a little trivia for those of you who are listening. Mas matanda ko si Boyser sa akin. in that sense. Ano yan, mas senior sa akin yan sa Academy. And I'm gonna mention other people who joined the Academy earlier than me. But 20 years ago, I joined the Academy, boys, if you remember, when the Academy was almost turning 5 years old. That's when I remember, because we were already preparing for that big event, the 50th anniversary. And so I joined in quite early, but again, there were other people, wonderful people who joined the Academy earlier than me. And I may just mention some. Of course, Tony San Gabriel, who's serving as mission president right now. He was the very first Filipino director for the Academy. But the very first directors actually were the founders themselves, Steve and Betty Gibson. And the Academy started as a residential program. Pag sinabi kasing residential program, students get to stay in the facility. It's parang ano siya, no? Para siyang yung PBB ba tawag na, no? So they get to stay there. So for those of you who are listening, and I hope that we have a lot, if you are part of the residential program, I hope you can type in Cebu, and so we can review that and make sure that we mention you. But those of you who started really early know what I'm talking about, because the Academy started as an in-house or a residential program for 2 months. And so the Academy's mission over the years did not really change. The method of providing the training has changed. The mission has always been to help members achieve self-reliance through entrepreneurial education. That has always been our mission. Siguro ang naging maliit lang na pagbabago, if we can call it that, is when the Academy started, and many of you know this, the Academy was basically focused on returned missionaries, educating and training returned missionaries in the Philippines. But now the Academy has, of course, extended the program to members of the church in the Philippines. And I don't know how much you know about this, Boys and Ayo, but the Academy is now, of course, worldwide. Worldwide na siya, kapatid, ano? And this is something that we are really, really happy about. The first country outside the Philippines, because Philippines is the pioneer. So again, for those who are listening and you are wondering, saan nagsimula ang Academy, you and I will be very proud that the Academy actually originated here in our very country. Particularly in Cebu. It was all by divine assistance and everything, as most of you who know the story. But the second country after the Philippines was Mexico. So Mexico yung sumunod. And I remember, my goodness, boys, I remember I would have trainings in Provo with my Mexico counterpart. Yun yung time na si Pacquiao tinatalo yung mga Mexicano. So ito yung time na kaya pagka nagkikita kami parang iniiwasan namin yung kwentuhang Pacquiao kasi kasi ilang Mexicano yung pinatumba ni Manny Pacquiao, pero magkaibigan kami. But again, just to mention, the second country that the Academy opened after the Philippines was Mexico, and then it was followed by Peru. This is a great story, if I may share. Pasensya na kaya. You can always stop me anytime. But I was listening to Steve Gibson one time, recently actually, Ayo and Boys, and he was sharing how Peru was started. Tinawag si Steve, Boys, na High Council, member ng High Council. For some reasons, I don't know exactly the details, merong GA na nandun. Siguro nag-i-interview sila, I don't know, no? So nandun si, nakakalimutan ko yung pangalan ng General Authority who was assigned in their area. And so he was interviewing Steve. And ang unang tanong daw kay Steve is, Steve, tell me, what are you involved or busy with? And so Steve started talking about the Academy. Yan naman lagi sinasabi ni Steve, no? Yan ang kanyang favorite na topic. So he started talking about the Academy. And this General Authority suddenly said, that is exactly what we need and in Peru. Sabi niya, what do you mean? Sabi niya, well, I was just recently released as the area president of Peru. So I don't have any keys anymore for Peru, but let me call the area president. And so the following day, Elder Pino, not Randy Pino, who is the president of Peru area at the time, immediately called Steve and said, I heard about the program. We need that in this country. Please let us know how we can have the program. And so I think a few months after, or maybe even less than a month, Steve and Robert flew to Peru. And Peru is now operating and servicing Venezuela, El Salvador, Chile, and other countries nearby. So we have grown over the years, and I have to make sure that I mention that the foundation of the Academy has been with wonderful people. I already mentioned that WSR was a part of that. Ayo was a part of that. For those of you who don't know that, here's another trivia for you. Ayo was a director for the Academy under, I think you were handling...
I thought you already forgot it.
No, I was...
Yeah, I was the curriculum director before, and then I moved on to the position of franchising, micro-franchising, yes, right. And then alumni director.
Exactly. So WSR was the admissions director, right, boys?
Yeah.
Maraming tinawagan si WSR na return missionary.
I know. And that actually have benefited me over the years, because these people that I have just talked to over the phone has become my friends, especially in Bacolod. Siguro idagdag ko sa trivia, when I went back, kasi umalis ako for a while, when I went back, nagtampo si Ayo and then she resigned. Sabi niya, if you're going to hire boys, or I'll get out.
Ginawan pa ng issue si Ayo. Hindi kayo
but honestly, I'm just excited to hear na international brand ang when we started, James, remember when we were like talking about yung mga maliliit, we call it AMP program. We were just talking about Philippine satellite Ace, into here that we're in Salvador, we're in Peru, in Mexico. That was just amazing.
Can I
This is
mention?
amazing. Ano ha? Go ahead,
Yeah,
Sir James. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, no, no.
Yeah, you know what? I'm really happy reminiscing the good old days, how we started in ACE. Of course, I'm so proud to be a part of it. And one thing that we are hearing from a lot of our alumni, our graduates, is that this is the place where their minds, their perspectives changed. So
Mm.
life changing. If you're gonna ask them, this is a life changing experience for me. Those who have been through the 2 months residential. I'm part of the, what do you call that, Sir James? The 1 week
Executive.
crash course.
Executive.
Yes. So I was part of that. And just the same, if you're going to ask a lot of people, they would say, ACE changed my life. ACE changed the way I think about life, the way I think about business. And, I'm very excited because I think that the next thing Sir James will talk about really are the programs. What are the
Right.
programs that really bring in the results that we have gotten over the years? So let me go back to Sir James for
Yeah,
this
that's
discussion.
yeah, I would love to really expound on that one. Um, Let me just quickly add few more important people that just came to my mind. Ronald Aban, of course, as we know. Prior, yan ang trainer ni Boyce, si Ronald, if I'm not mistaken. Ronald trained you. But let me also mention, I don't know kung sino nauna sa inyo, Ayo, but I think ikaw yung pinalitan ni Johnny Briones. Our current manager for Pathway.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Was also part of the academy, and that's just exciting to reminisce. It's like what you said, Ayo. He was also the franchising director, so I think she picked up on the things that you accomplished and everything, and so that's really wonderful. You mentioned, Ayo, a while ago about a lot of people mentioning that it was a life-changing experience for them, and I have to admit that goes with me also. When I joined the academy, it was just listening to Tony was the one teaching then. Ronald was also still part of it. He was already actually about to exit and do full-time entrepreneurship, but I heard great lessons delivered by Glenn Gonzaga, who is now, of course, as we know, WSR was there teaching, and I was just stunned, by how these great men and women have been capturing the message of entrepreneurship in a very different way. I was reminded of a story. Sabi ni Ayo to na naman.
Go ahead. We love your stories, Sir James.
That she is now alive. There's a story of an ancient temple, and I know that many of you are familiar with this one. This is the Temple of Apollo, and carved are the words. Sometimes I get confused about this one, but so I wrote it down. Carved were the words "Ganodi Sayoton," which translates to "Know thyself." And this ancient oracle was visited by great leaders during their time. We're talking about Socrates, we're talking about Alexander the Great, would come to this temple just to ponder on the message that was written there on one of the walls of this beautiful temple, which is actually the ruins of the temple, what is left of it. But the message is clear. Up until now, the message is alive and well. Know thyself. And when you were mentioning this earlier, Ayo, how come this is so much of a life-changing? I think that's one of the effects. It's so interesting that we're talking about how to start a business, but then again, in the process of discussing these great principles, we come to a realization of somehow who we are. It's not about business anymore. It's about, what, I can do great things. What, I can explore and do other things and come up with ways to accomplish things I have never even thought of before. And so when you were mentioning that, Ayo, earlier, that concept came to my mind. What a great principle, know thyself. And it's so interesting that a business class would somehow provide you sort of a mirror And then you get to look at yourself and say, you know what? I can do great things. And so I think that's where the life-changing experience comes in. So yeah, and I have I have spoken to a lot of people, just like what you have mentioned, Ayo, that just are excited about the experience. Well, moving forward, programs. So that's the academy. Thank you so much for that way to start this conversation. I'm just happy that I am a part of such a wonderful organization. Um, if I may mention also, boys, and I think, again, reminiscing muna tayo, pasensya na kayo. I don't know if you were part already, boys, na we had this wonderful visitor. I'll never forget this. Andy Barfus brought the son of President Hinckley.
I was
You
there.
remember, you
I was
remember
there.
that?
Yeah.
Richard
And
Hinckley.
Richard
Oh my
Yes.
goodness. I think we were surprised. I mean, I don't think it was mentioned to us prior to the visit of Andy that he'll be bringing. Ang alala ko kasi, sabi lang niya is, I'm gonna be bringing a special friend. And so it was more of like a teaser email saying, I'm gonna be bringing a special friend. And then lo and behold, entered the residential classroom. Sabi ko, am I looking at the young Hinckley here, President Hinckley? And then he introduced himself. And he said that he was recently released as a mission president, and he would like to make sure that he comes and visit and shares. And I think that's one of those that we miss a lot in the residential program. All of these wonderful visitors who would come in and out and share their wonderful experience. And so it was just, again, anyways, memory lane. Programs, number one program is, di ba, ACE, kapatid, ano? Academy for Creating Enterprise. So the first program that I would like to talk about is the program about creating your own enterprise or starting your own business. And that was the original program in the residential program. Now, after that was discontinued, we're now doing it everywhere. The program now is called Start Now. This is actually authored by our Mexico wonderful staff, and we adopted it. And we are so happy that in the Philippines, we have the partnership with Self-Reliance, with WSR, to provide the Start Now training to those who have graduated from SGMB, or the full name of that is the Start and Grow My Business program of the church. So all of those who graduates from the SGMB are allowed to go through like a follow-up training, if you will, and it's called Start Now, and we get to provide that everywhere. I think it's now wonderful to mention, boys, that temporarily, and we hope that it's gonna there will be some changes maybe soon, but right now we're just so happy that WSR is allowing, during the pandemic, members of the church who have not yet taken and graduated from SGMB to attend Start Now of the Academy. And after they have taken the Start Now and they're already on their way to start their business, then they can take the SGMB so that they go and learn further. But that's the very first program, Ayo and Boys, that we have. Maybe I can mention later on the second part of the program, but the very first program is under starting a small business. So we provide this program called Start Now.
James, because I've been dying to ask you this question, because we have seen the beauty of the residential program, and there's the executive batch for crash course,
Right.
and then it has evolved into a certain point, and it is now called Start Now. Can you tell us, what's the inspiration of now solidly instituting that one of the biggest program of the academy right now is called and is now instituted as Start Now?
Yeah. Oh, that's an excellent question. So when we really started, um, the residential program. When the academy started the residential program, it was a 2 months of training on how to start a small business, and then it became a crash course version which Ayo attended, which was called the executive program. So Start Now program is more of like a combination of what was taught in the residential and what was taught in the executive program. So it was more of like a mixture, a hybrid. So now it's called Start Now. So the signature lessons called Rules of Thumb, and of course, you guys know this very well. The signature lessons under Rules of Thumb are actually still intact in the Start Now program. Uh, uh, Rules of thumb like practice separate entity, pay yourself a livable salary, be nice later, and all of these things that we love to talk about in the residential and in the executive program is now all packed in a shorter version called Start Now. Now, I like yung tanong mo, boys. Ang marami kasi nagtanong sa akin ganito eh. So James, dati 2 months kayo. Diba 2 buwan? Ngayon, nagbibigay ka 1 linggo. So how in the world can you say that you were able to compact 2 months into 1 week? This was all made possible when we started creating chapters, which is part of the second program that I'm going to be expounding in a while. But when we started creating chapters in different places of the Philippines, that became the second program now, the continuing education programs of the academy. And so, hindi na ngayon bitin. So, parang pinili lang namin, okay, ito ituturo natin ng 1 linggo sa Start Now, 4 days. And then the rest of the other important lessons, we can deliver through the chapters. So, the continuing education is alive and well in our, all over the Philippines with our chapter members. So, but yeah, so yun ang sagot ko, boy, sa tanong mo, how it all came about from the residential to the executive, now to the Start Now. The principles of rules of thumb are still alive and well.
Boys, if I may, Sir James, why is there a sense of urgency and why do we see so much passion in you? Especially now that we are campaigning that people understand business concepts and readily launch. You know, I attended the Start Now already. Did I pass, Lloyd? But I knew I passed. So one of the things that you say there is you have to launch immediately any income generating activity. And in lieu of the pandemic of what's happening right now, how can you now, you know, why is there so much push for our people in the church, most especially, that we easily adapt to this entrepreneurship mindset? Why is it that important?
Oh, I love that question. Why the urgency? You know what? One statement that I really love was given by John Locke. He said, "What worries you masters you." Think about that. What worries you masters you. So the truth is, what is one thing that worries people now? It's self-reliance. And this worry is now becoming our masters. Nagiging master na natin siya. And so it's now ruling over us. And the truth is, we cannot demean the problems that our members are going through right now because it's real. The problem of providing for our families is just real. It's as real as the chairs we're sitting on right now. And so if our members continue to worry about this, and this worry becomes the master in our minds, then the more we cannot get out of this cycle. And the more hunger happens, the more the problem of providing happens. You know what? Worrying about this problem will never put food on our tables. We know that. You know, it's easier said than done for many people. And so I think you and I, who are in the capacity to provide the solution, should have that sense of urgency. Because, little do we know, tomorrow somebody would probably collapse for lack of food. Probably tomorrow somebody would collapse for lack of nutrition. And so I think the urgency is really, really there, especially now. Noon kasi, alam na natin na may problema eh. And then na-magnify pa ngayon. I don't know, tenfold, 20-fold. You guys probably know the numbers more than I do. But my goodness, how many people are losing jobs left and right? And so we're not saying that the only solution is starting a business. Please don't get me wrong. It's starting a business is not the only solution to the problem. What I'm saying is it's one of the solutions. And if it's one of the solutions, then by all means, let's come up with a way to provide that solution and then other solutions along the way. So I like that question a lot, Ayo. Why the urgency? Because we'll never know who will suffer from hunger and whatever because of the problems that are happening right now. And so we're so blessed that we have Zoom and other platforms that we can provide. And so I'm just happy with that. But yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And
Boys, you have a
I
question?
think, yeah, and I think that's very important. Especially now, everybody is scared, and as the days go by, makikita mo everybody's just trying to start something, and
Right.
there's blessing and danger to that. So maybe you'd like to walk us through, how does a person like a member or whoever would like to join, how do they go through? What's the process that they have to go through so that
Right.
a start now can actually come to their place? Because I know this is virtual right now. So how can
Right.
they come into that virtual seminar?
Right. Thank you so much, Bishop. Sanay nga.
Madami kasi akong gustong
Kanina nga sabi namin ni Ayo, boys tayo ng boys, Bishop na pala to si boys. Anyways, well, so how do they go through the program? First of all, I would like to mention that, and many of you have already known and met, we call them regional coordinators. And I'll mention their names. We have Joel on the farthest part of Luzon, who works side by side with Willie Estrada. And then we have Jay Cruz and Dino Bayani. We have Lloyd Gamba. We have Michael Ragrario. We have Randy Pino. And they are actually very much regularly in contact with priesthood leaders, with members of the graduates or the alumni, and they actually assist in organizing. So the process begins with the stake who needs the program or the training, and then somehow the stake leaders and the chapter members and the regional coordinators get in contact with each other, and then the process of organizing that begins. They identify who are the members who are in urgent need. I like that word, Ayo. Thank you so much for bringing it into this webinar. That urgent need for a training on how to start a small online business. And then it's organized and it's quite fast. Sometimes they organize it only for a week or two, and then we schedule it, and then it happens online. We normally accommodate 15 boys right now. We're thinking that we can do more, but 15 per batch, because we want it to be interactive. We want it to be a bit personalized. As you know, we can do more in a webinar, but we're doing it 15 to 20 the most, so that we can really have that, one-on-one and everything. And then it's organized. Tulad ng binanggit ko kanina, dati, ang pwede lang mag-enroll are those who are graduates of SGMB. But for now, we're so happy that with WSR making sure that the urgency of the need and the solution come together. So for now, those members who are not yet graduates of SGMB can participate in the start now, and then after that they can do the SGMB for further learning. But so boys, that's how it is. So it's a simple correlation, collaboration between the stake leaders, the chapter members, and the regional coordinators. And of course, I have to mention this because this is very important. Of course, our self-reliance WSR managers that we work with, we will let them know, and in fact, they're the ones who help us get inside the offices of the stake leaders for them to know. So thank you, boys, for asking that, and thank you for all the help that we are receiving from our wonderful WSR managers to make sure that the program is in the stakes.
Okay.
I love
So
that. And I'd like to add a testimony to that, boys, because we had this activity online, and that was the first time that I went online. I traded my first trading activity. It was so much fun, Sir James. That simple activity really helped me understand the value that I'm offering. It's really the value that I have for myself, so that I could go out, go online, have the confidence to do it. Because I think one of the ready barriers that people encounter when they talk about businesses, how can I get out there? I'm not really a social media person. I don't know how to sell. I don't know how to market everything. But just that simple activity really, pushed everybody in our class to come up with creative ideas, how to get themselves, introduce themselves once and for all, get out of their shells, not, and then just expose themselves. So that's one of the things that I love. And why am I saying this? It's because if you go online, you can just see a lot of platforms. You see a lot of providers, people, gurus, mentors telling you to enroll in this kind of program. They will learn about entrepreneurship. They will learn about how to start a business. But I think one of the things that we need to the people to understand, especially those who are members of the church, is that, and I think I'd like to ask you, Sir James, why would forget about the church, being members of the church, but I'd like to ask, why would they even want to consider first going to start now than just getting, the other 100 offerings that we have now in the market? So why start now first before anything else?
Oh, I like that a lot. Oh, wow. That's a great question. With all of the offerings out there right now, right? Why choose start now? Many reasons. Number one, it's a proven curriculum. It's a curriculum that we have been running for many years now. Do we have students who have failed in businesses? Of course. In fact, we're very proud to say that, because it's all part of learning. Tulad sabi ko nga kanina, di ba, it's the process of knowing thyself. And some of our students realize that, you know what, business is not something that I would love to do. Probably I'm going to go do something else. And that's part of the awakening process. But it's a curriculum that has been working for many years now. Number two, it was built or developed around the idea that we would like to teach this to members of the church. And so we have that in mind. And you boys and I, know this very well, because you have been doing similar things that, of course, I do. And when I go and train and consult outside companies, it's different when it's so different when we create a module with the members in mind. I don't know. I mean, that's just me. Pagka ang members ang iniisip ko, and when we create the program with the members in mind, it's just different. It's a different kind of creation, so to speak. It's a different kind of program that we all create. And so those are some of the reasons that I would like to highlight. It's a curriculum that has been working for many years. It has built around the principles of the gospel. It has been built around the idea that we would like to share this to members of the church. And so I think that's what really makes it so special, so unique, and if I may say, so powerful, because we have that in mind. It's just exciting for me. I mean, I have created so many curriculums for different companies, and it's just exciting when I sit down with a team and say, we're gonna create this for our chapter leaders, and these are members of the church who are also stake presidencies and bishoprics, and so it's just different. It's just one of a kind. And I would like to acknowledge our chapter officers who have been so diligent in reaching out to the people around them and making sure that the Bayanihan system is alive and well in all of us Filipinos and members of the church. Thank you, Aya, for that question.
Okay, siguro kanina I've been keen to what you've said. Sabi mo this is the first. Can we now know what's the second program of the academy?
Right. Okay. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, the first program is more on the creating side. The second program is the continuing education part. So una is, okay, let's start the ball rolling. Let's start the educational program. Here we are, we teach you how to start and grow your small business. Then after you graduate, and this is another reason pala, maganda sagot sa tanong ni Ayo, why choose Start Now? Because when you graduate in Start Now, the involvement of the academy does not stop after you graduate from Start Now. Then we now start the process of continuing education. I like this a lot, and just like what Ayo said, she used to be the director for alumni services, and this was a dream. I remember, kaya nga ako boys naging part ng academy. Naalala ko yung kwento ni Steve. So there was the school, and then ang pangarap ni Steve is magkaroon ng continuing education. So that's when he looked for another director to manage basically that. And that's how I came to be in touch with the academy, because of the idea of continuing education. So what are the programs under continuing education? Number one, we help the group of graduates in a certain stake organize their chapters, which is basically what is recommended in the SGMB manual. The SGMB manual states that after they graduate, they can continue to meet together so that they can continue to inspire each other. Oh, I love that portion in the manual. That's my favorite portion in the manual. That statement that says, continue to meet together, inspire one another, solve problems together. And so that is the spirit of after training or continuing education. And so we help that group to start, and we call it chapter now. Actually, we call it the SGMB support chapters. And so what happens now, boys, is our goal is to make sure that the chapters are supported through lessons on a monthly basis, so that they have something to talk about. Naalala mo, boys, yung nagsimula yung mga chapters, hirap na hirap yung mga chapter officers na mag-gather together, kasi sabi, inamin nila sa atin, di ba? Sabi niya, James, okay naman mag-gather, pero anong pag-uusapan namin? Nagtitingin lang kami, di ba? Sabi nila James, nila Erwin, mag-meet tayo. So ano nang pag-uusapan natin? And so we realized that one of the problems is there was no structure in how a chapter can happen. And so
but in akong konti, I remember before, there were restless nights that we actually come up with a script. We bring a script and say, just fill in the blanks so that it can create structure. Kasi to be an entrepreneur, sabi nga natin, to be an entrepreneur and to be a trainer is one thing. So we came up with this very short na parang booklet that they can actually, and actually that has spiraled up the interest of meeting together, right? I remember meron tayong isang taon na kada chapter we actually made it a point na bisitahan, puntahan. We went to Bukidnon, as far as Tugigaraw, just to make sure that everybody will be supported with their chapter trainings. So how's the chapters right now, James? since
Oh,
we
thank
started
you.
with that struggle.
Oh, you know what? Thank you so much. And I'm happy to report, boys, that out of we now have 200 plus, believe it or not. My goodness, when we started, boys, we were just we were struggling with what, 30 chapters, 20 chapters, and then it grew into 60. Now we have 200 plus chapters. And before the pandemic, before the pandemic, our batting average was 92% of the 190 plus chapters. 190 plus pa noon bago mag-pandemic. We're actually meeting regularly. And we're talking about meeting, going to the chapel, and then gathering together. 92%, oh my goodness, from struggling to now almost 100. Ngayon, mas dumali kasi virtual eh. So, nagna 98% na tayo, boys, ngayon. Can you imagine, sa 10 chapter, isa lang o dalawa yung hindi nakakapag regularly, no? 7 to 8 to 9, kasi yung virtual, kaya mas naging madali. And we continue to do that, yung sinabi mo, boys, na we will send them more of like a script, a lesson guide, and then they get to talk about it. Boys, when we were starting this chapter, and Ayo was part of that, you were very much a part of that. I remember, and I mentioned this a lot. Nako, nagsasawa na siguro yung mga nakakarinig sa akin ito. Yung storya na kinuwento sa akin ni Jomel Villanueva. Oh my goodness, life-changing. Nung kinuwento niya sa akin to, sabi niya, alam mo, James, nung kinikwento ko yung chapters, sabi niya, can I share with you an experience I had? So, again, here we go again with my storytelling. So, kinuwento ni... okay lang ba, boys and Ayo?
Yes, we would love to hear all of those stories. In fact, our viewers are really reminiscing as well. They're typing in the batch names.
Yeah.
They attended the academy. So go ahead, Sir James. Indulge us.
Wonderful. Yeah, please type in Cebu if you went to Cebu. Now, yung mga natawagan ni Boys, yung mga Boys ang admissions director, i-type nyo nga I Heart Boys. Kasi Boys ang Thailand. Kung kayo nakapag-ace, di ba? I Heart Boys. Anyways, talking about the spirit of chapters, I treasure this wonderful story that was shared to me by our really, really fabulous friend, Jomel Villanueva. Sabi niya, James, one time, he was a member of the stake presidency when he experienced this. Alam ko parang si President Bobby da ata yung stake president nung kinikwento niya, kung di ako nagkakamali. So sabi niya, alam mo naman kami, James, paminsan-minsan pagka nag-meeting kami, naiimbitahan kami ng stake president namin sa Chinese restaurant. Imagine mo pag si Jomel pa nagkwento nito, buhay na buhay. Hindi ko kaya yung Jomel kind of storytelling. Matindi si Jomel magkwento. So sabi niya, James, pumasok kami sa Chinese restaurant. Sabi niya gano'n. Alam mo naman ng Chinese restaurant, bilog yan ng mga lamesa niya kasi by tradition, bilog yan. And then, nakita niya daw sa isang table, familiar yung mga mukha ng mga Chinese na nakaupo ron. Sabi niya, saan ko ba nakita itong mga to? Bakit familiar na familiar sila? So, ang sabi niya daw kay President Babida, President, pwede ba dun tayo sa lamesa na yon? Sinadya niya kasi magkatalikod. So, nandun siya ngayon nakaupo. Sabi niya, again, naalala ko naman kung paano ko nito ni Jomel to. Talaga naman buhay na buhay. Sabi niya, James, nakaupo ako doon. And then, nakikinig yung isang tenga ko kay President Babida. Nakikinig yung isang tenga ko sa nangyayari din sa kabilang lamesa. Yung nagkikwentuhan ng mga Chinese. And then, naalala niya bigla. Kaya pala familiar sila sa akin. Kasi dumaan daw siya sa mga 5 hardware stores sa lugar nila kasi may hinahanap siyang bagay. May hinahanap siyang gadget. So pumunta siya doon sa unang hardware store. Nakita niya yung Chinese na may-ari. Nakaupo sa cashier. Di ba? Ganun naman. And then wala. Pumunta siya sa pangalawa. Naalala niya na. Ito pala yung mga may-ari ng hardware stores na pinuntahan ko last week. And then na-curious siya. Bakit magkasama sila? Di ba magkakalaban sa kumpanya to? Hindi naman sila isang kumpanya. Magkakalaban sila. Competitor sila. But why are they eating together? So na-interest siya ngayon. Ito na ngayon ang kinuwento ni Jomel. Pagkatapos daw nung dinner, yung pinaka-head siguro, yung pinaka-senior nung Chinese group na to, sabi ba naman niya, o ikaw, ilang sako ng simento o orderin mo this week? Sabi niya, 50 ang sako. O, sulat mo, 50. Siguro hindi 50, baka 500. Big time to. And then sabi doon sa isa, o ikaw, ilang sako ng semento? Ako, 200. O sige, sulat mo 200 sacks. O ikaw, ilan sako ng ano? Ako, 300. And then na-realize si Jomel, kaya pala nila ginagawa ito because together they buy in bulk. Sabi niya, during the week, they are competitors. But once a week, they are friends coming together and helping each other. Can you imagine? Pagka ikaw bumili ng 50 sako mag-isa, ikaw bumili ng 200 na sako mag-isa, iba presyo nyo. Pero pag kinumbay natin yung sako natin, at ang in-order natin 2,000 sacks, di ba? The law of supply and demand or the law of economics, bababayan. Di ba? Bababa yung presyo ngayon. Tapos ngayon, i-deliver sa kanya-kanyang tindahan. So, sabi niya, na-realize ko, James, kaya pala sila very successful because they work together. Alam mo nung sabi ko, Jomel, will you allow me to share that story everywhere I go? Sabi niya, please do. And if it would help our Filipino members, let us also learn from that wonderful experience and that wonderful strategy. So mga kasama, every month naman, kahiwalay tayo ng negosyo, pero at least once a month, we come together. Can you imagine kung magkakapareha tayo ng food business, tapos sabay-sabay tayong bumibili ng sako ng bigas? Diba? Kaysa ako mag-isa, ilan tayo sa chapter natin? Siguro sa chapter natin, 3 tayo, 5 tayong merong food business. And then we can order gulay together. You know, things like those, that's the wisdom of the chapters. So, yeah, nasa na ba tayo?
We got carried away with a story because I love that, what you said about unity. Even if we are all in this together, entrepreneurs help themselves. Totally, binabago talaga yung ating, the way we run things there's so much things that we can learn. So I love the idea that we come first to start now to learn. And then as we go on, you have the support system. You have now the different chapters spread throughout the Philippines. And of course, papasok tayo doon sa medyo weighty material or rather another meatier program that can push them forward para mapangalagaan nila kanilang mga negosyo. Of course, they started with the rules of thumb, and I'm sure a lot of our graduates can start typing in kung anong favorite nilang rules of thumb that they learn from the ACE Academy. But boys, I think it's going to be a shared discussion now because why now we are going to introduce another program which is starting and growing my business. And I think that I'd like to throw this question before we answer, James, to Mr. Erwin Boyser, being the champion, one of the champions of this program ever since we started together in the Self-Reliance. We work together at the Academy. So meron talaga kaming magandang vibe ni Boys with all of this. So kumbaga, boys, why now? Why continuing education with starting and growing my business? How do we now link that with the things that they have learned from start now?
I think we already have heard a winning strategy. And I will cite a little bias to the Academy because I've been there. I have seen the residential program and I was blessed to see the executive program. And then the transition to by stake, from Cebu, we now go to different stakes and districts. And there's also some value of getting yourself also experience a little bit to have an idea. Yung itry mo ba, ano ba talagang pakiramdam ng magbebenta? Ano ba talaga yung mga technique? Matikman mo yung mga strategies that can actually invigorate, that entrepreneurial spirit. And again, along the way, you need more trainings. And like what James has been saying, hindi lang naman natin sinasabing SGMB lang, or it goes also with not just start now lang. We need more trainings, and apparently we now have a winning combination. Nasa atin na mismo. And I have seen SGMB and its power. And I have also seen the power of Start Now. When they were doing that here in Bacolod, I was there for 3 days. Buti nga sa inyo ngayon, free. Sa amin noon talagang nagbayad kami may bayad yon. So Di ba? I mean, but if you put them together, my feeling is once you get that experience, which is talagang you'll get it and start now, you will really have to sell. And those that will really catch the spirit and went on and grow a business, then there's an SGMB prepared by the church to solidify that one. The synergy is there. Si Ayo alam niya ito. Every time there is a discussion about entrepreneurship in WSR, wherever we are, ako yung maingay because in the Philippines there is just this spirit that we are creators of business. And there's just so many parts of the Philippines that wala talagang opportunity to get a better income sa pagtatrabaho. So you create one. And that's business. So ako, I would like, as an invitation, let's really get ourselves, especially now that we have a window, to get into this wonderful program in Start Now. Sabihan ko kayo, if you get this somewhere else, gusto kong sumagot dun sa sinabi ko, yung iba ang mahal. And you don't even know what you will get. I have been into a lot of online trainings. And some are just like, kakamot ka sa ulo, yun na yun, buong araw, yun na yun. And you don't even know what you will get. But this program has been proven for 20 years. Yung kaluluwa nito has been tested through times. This will work with the Filipinos. And there's an SGMB with the spirit of the academy. Oh boy, I mean, if you will not get it, the Lord is now pointing to us, to you and to me, that even a pandemic cannot cause you to stop because there's a support group that will actually invite you. And I'd like to pass this to to James. James, kumusta ba yung energy? Mas bumaba ba ngayong pandemic? Yung energy sa Start Now? Or mas tumindi? O parang ganun din? Walang pinagbago?
Oh. I think...
Pinasa ko ulit sa'yo, di ba? Kasi, pasa ko sa'yo.
Actually, it's a very high energy, high octane program. Here's the interesting thing, and I know that you guys understand this really well. When we all started offering the program virtually, we were all at a loss, right? I mean, how do we even do this? How do we start? Am I even connecting with people and all? And we all started that way. And we had so many with the RCs, sila Rino, sila, alam mo, nagpa-practice kami, boys, practice kami ng practice, paano natin sasabihin ito, ano? And you know what, now, we see the blessing of the Lord that principles are principles. Correct principles are correct principles. So whether we are doing it virtually or not, of course, we can say, we can always debate the pros and cons of virtual versus face-to-face. But I think at the end of the day, if you are able to teach correct principles, whether it was through Zoom or even by phone or by text, correct principles will always be correct principles, and the power that it carries will always be there. And so, to answer your question, that great question, boys, it's alive and well. A lot of our members are into the. In fact, bago tayo boys, gigiltihin lang kita. Umattend ako ng graduation sa Akla. Okay. Kahit na 30 minutes.
Ganun, akala ko kasi 6 o'clock, 5:30 ba? I mean,
5 o'clock. Oo. Hindi, okay lang, boys. Sinabi ko naman sa kanila. Pero
now I feel bad.
Yeah, thank you. Kapatid, President Roberto was there. Can you imagine the stake president side by side with his wonderful wife all throughout the training? He sat there and he was taking notes, and he was just, he is already a world-class entrepreneur. As far as I'm concerned, as I know you know him, he's just an A+ kind of an entrepreneur. But he was there. He was ready with his pen. He was just writing and just absorbing everything, and it's just heartwarming to see that. And so to answer your question, boys, the Start Now program is very much on high gear, and we're so happy for all the support that you guys are bringing into the table for this to continue to happen.
Yeah, and there's just so much that the programs can offer. Now you'll get best of both worlds. from starting to growing, you now have something to go to have a group like the Chinese. For me, that is
Yes.
something na Filipinos, ito, tanggapin na natin, mga Pilipino tayo eh, di ba? Pag meron tayong alam, talagang tinatago natin. We guard it with our life. I mean, hindi pwedeng makita, hindi pwedeng ma-discover, but I think the Chinese world already have, we have Chinese friends. Our Asian counterparts, I think that's a better term, have shown us that if we come together, united in our goals, then businesses will thrive, grow
Right.
even bigger. I
Yeah.
remember si Joy Concepcion, sinasabi niya, we are the second best in the world in terms of entrepreneurship. Diba? Pero yung mga businesses na yon, it was driven by a need. It's not really something na
Yeah.
to really grow. It's a day-to-day grind. And for that, from day-to-day grind to be a champion business, um, they have to be trained, by the best
Right.
combinations we can find. And again, sa church, meron tayo noon, and all we need to do right now is just use it. Especially now that everybody can now go in the Start Now program without the SGMB graduation, 'di ba? Tawag nito na requirements in I think there's now something that we can work on, kasi sabi nila malapit na yung vaccine, baka matapos ito. I'll really push hard. This should be something na we need to look forward and revisit after the pandemic as well. Ako, nakikita ko pa sa Kalibo, when I was just talking to them, I was just bypassing. Sabi ko, President Roberto, there's a program called Start Now, and I believe sa pandemic, maraming online selling tayo. Maybe you'd like to hear what AIDA means, and you can only hear what AIDA means if you go to Start Now program. And I was just so happy, and now I feel so bad because ako nag-udyok sa kanilang sumali and then wala ako sa graduation. But please, I hope they're watching this. Guys, I love you. You know how much I love Kalibo. And I would like to personally invite, di pa tayo nagtatamos, but let me just invite Bacolod CCM, Cebu CCM, from Sipalay to Boracay. Ang ganda nun from Sipalay to Boracay. We have to get into this program, especially now that we are into online selling, especially now that there's no hiring outside. Let's create our own businesses, and hopefully after the pandemic, it will bless more people to come into our business, right? So, Sipalay to Boracay. Okay, ayon naman.
Tama mo na buong Pilipinas.
Buong Pilipinas, we have to get into this program. I'm not requiring you guys, but this is something na parang mission. Kailangan mo masubukan para malaman mo. All right?
You're forgiven na, boys. Just letting you know, ang dami talaga nagbibigay ng comments dito. And we also have some questions. We will attend to them very shortly. But now, ladies and gentlemen, to all of those who are listening to us, as Sir James explained to us, the Start Now program, and then the continuing alumni chapters spread throughout the country. Then we also have the Starting and Growing My Business, a really strong partnership here. So we have dispelled a lot of these common notions that we cannot start businesses just because we don't have any capital, just because we don't really come from a background na entrepreneurship, knowing our kung ano yung trajectory minsan natin when we go to college and then we are trained to become employees. But now, talagang nabubuksan yung ating mga isip. Sir James, this question is for you. You have seen a lot of our graduates, no? Both SGMB, the Start Now, and even ACE before, thousands of graduates. And there have been, success stories here and there. As the director, as a country director of the Academy for Creating Enterprise now, what gives you satisfaction or happiness? Alam ko maraming success stories, but ano yung nakikita mo talaga that you can tell this is really the greatest result of the people coming to the program? Yeah. What is it? And why do you think it's important?
Well, and you're right in saying, Ayo, that it goes beyond, the report of, money coming in and all that. For me, the first thing that came to my mind when you asked the question, what really warms my heart when I observe our graduates, it's the ability, time comes that wala namang problema kung talagang sa simula sarili mo iisipin mo kasi 'di ba kung nahihirapan tayo kailangan natin sarili natin tulungan. But when I see our graduates now helping each other, it just really warms my heart. And for me, that is one of the most important definitions or criteria for success. Kasi pagka meron ka ng ability to help and now you're helping. Kaya nga, shout out to all of our chapter officers. Oh my goodness. Those of you who are watching and viewing who are chapter officers, can you just type in their chapter officers? I would love to know because they are just scattered everywhere. And we just love how they sacrifice so much for their chapter members to reach out and to help. So for me, that is really what really warms my heart. Pagka meron kaming nakita na eto James, tulungan natin. Eto Rins, reach out natin siya. Tinulungan namin. So yung kanina sinasabi natin ba na the Chinese principle. And if I can throw in, Ayo, you have heard me use this analogy or illustration. But I think in the spirit of what we're talking about, I think it's great in the context of chapters and defining what really is success. You heard me use this illustration before. Copper, COPPER, is listed under soft metals. Tin, TIN, is also listed under soft metals. Both of them are soft metals. Individually, separately, they are soft metals. You know that. Pag copper, pwede mo agatin niya malambot yan. Tin, ganun din. But here is a natural phenomenon. If you combine these two soft metals together, you create a solid element called bronze. Think about that. How did that even happen? You combine two soft elements together and you come up with a solid and really, really strong metal called bronze. You see, brothers and sisters, you who are listening to us, you can do your own research as much as I have done. Bronze is so significant that when bronze was actually discovered, a new world was discovered. It was the end of the Stone Age. Came the Bronze Era. It was even actually named bronze officially in our history books. It's called the Bronze Era. Done were the days of creating tools out of rocks and wood. And then came the creation of tools and weapons made of bronze. And it totally changed the world. Why am I sharing this, brothers and sisters? Independently, we are coppers and tins. Independently. But together, boy, we are strong. We are solid. And we can create tools, materials, maybe even weapons that are just meant to do great things. So please think about that. And so when I see our members coming together, helping one another, for me, that is more than enough to say that we have truly seen success. Because, you know, and many of our chapter members, and you know this, Ayo and boys, we're not talking about everybody being millionaires. We're not even measuring that. We're just talking about people achieving self-reliance, and in the process of enjoying self-reliance, they are there, reaching out. Kaya, oh my goodness, just this chapter members and officers, they are the bronze for me. I mean, they are solid. They're solid because they chose to come together and build together. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
That is so beautiful. Ganda nun, Sir James. We really appreciate it. Having that kind of vision for our people. Sabi nga natin, pag walang vision, we suffer. And so we are looking forward to a brighter future na lahat tayo umuunlad amid the pandemic, amid anything, amid any crisis that will come and beset our way, we will be prepared. So, boys,
Yeah. Siguro,
before we,
meron ako naisip. I was just browsing yung page ni Ayon. Maybe we can take in some questions right now. Maybe you have there from Lloyd, from my streaming. Guys, if you have any questions, type them in. May nakikita na akong isa o dalawa. Pipiliin lang namin, as much as we want to stay till tomorrow, we only promise James na one and a half. All right, but if you have questions right now, I'll start. Ngayon kapatid, now, ano na yung parang self-satisfying ito sa akin. Now that you have seen online businesses sprouting like crazy here and there, what can you say about that? How can one thrive and survive a very congested online selling right now? Especially may isa nagtanong, what if yung aking kapitbahay pareho kami ng ginagawa, anong gagawin ko? Okay, so meron na ganun tanong, nagputo din siya, nag-online. Pink sa kanya, orange sa akin. So what do I do? How do I survive if everybody is now doing online selling?
That's a wonderful question. Thank you so much, Bishop. Natutuwa ako pag tinatawag itang Bishop Kasi sabi nila Ewing, pag ikaw na ngayon, boys. Pinagdaanan na natin yan. And this is a wonderful time to serve as a bishop of the ward. What a wonderful calling. Boys, to answer the question, you mentioned earlier this AIDA. Again, this is just inspiration. Many of you are familiar with the AIDA model, the AIDA framework. I use the AIDA model to build my selling career. Right after college, my first full-time job was in sales. And I was able to build my career on the framework of AIDA. Sa AIDA kasi, pagka selling, meron siyang specific na meaning di ba? Pero dito sa online selling, we really came up with, and we know it's inspiration. But of course, A is get the attention. I is to get the interest. And then yung D, maraming D kasi. Sa marketing, when you create a poster, the D is desire. Sa selling, the D is demonstrate. Pero we were thinking, what's the D in online selling? Or actually, what's the D in business? And the inspiration came, and the D in AIDA that we teach is differentiation. You have to differentiate. And so, again, I remember this. Here I am again with my storytelling. One time I attended a training that was conducted by the legendary Josiah Go. And many of you probably are familiar. He has tons of books in National Bookstore about marketing and business. And so I remember Marriott Cebu. I was there, one of the participants in his training. And then came lunch. Okay, came lunch. You know what? Tama yung sinasabi ni Boys. Mga Pilipino talaga may kakaibang walang tumatabi sa kanya. Nakaupo na si Josiah Go. Everybody was occupying nobody was sitting beside him. And I said to myself, oh boy, this is a wonderful opportunity. So I sat beside him. Can you imagine this? Ang kapal ng mukha ko. Jason Fantone sitting beside the Josiah Go. And then I started a conversation. I said, because he was talking about marketing and business, I guess. I said, Joe, kasi he wanted to be called Joe. Sabi ko, Joe, have you ever been asked, what is the best business to start? Sabi niya, James, all the time. That's probably one of the questions that I get all the time. What's the best business to start? So sabi ko, sige, tatanungin ko siya kung anong sagot niya para kopyahin ko na lang, para mala-Josiah Go ako. Sabi ko, so, anong sagot mo? Sabi niya sa akin, if I know the best business to start, then why should I tell you? Sabi niya, edi kinopya mo ako. And then tawa siya ng tawa. Sabi ko, okay yun And then sabi ko, is this that? And then he smiled at me and then he said, you know what, James? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You want to do siopaw? You want to do puto? You want to do spaghetti? It doesn't matter. So many ideas can make money. Here is, for me, the number one criteria. He said, when you make a puto, when you make a kutsinta, paano siya naiba doon sa kutsinta ng kapitbahay mo? How do you differentiate, sabi niya, your business from the other one? And so you're right, boys. And that's why we were saying, you know what, we have to really, kasi di ba, can you imagine, online selling, diba? Pare-pareho naman tayong damit, di ba? Pare-pareho pa nga tayong inukuha ng supplier, di ba? So how do you do that? And then so sabi namin, you know what, we owe it to our students. We have to teach them correct business principles. One of which is differentiate. If you would differentiate your business, it doesn't matter kung pare-pareho kayo na nagbebenta ng kutsinta. If your kutsinta is differentiated from them, you're giving people a reason. Para na ako nag-start now. Sorry, okay na boys. Baka mamaya mag-start now na to.
Credited na pa to sa day 1 namin pag nag-start na ako.
Free. Preview.
Oh my goodness. But you know what? Here's the deal, my friends. And you do this as much as I do. I consult with companies outside. And guess what? We say the same things. We teach the same principles. Ang kaibahan lang nga, pag kami ni Boys, di ayo nagbigay ng lesson na differentiation sa kumpanya sa kabila, binayaran kami ng malaki. Pero magsa-start now. Gift yun, gift. Diba? Pagka sa members natin binigay, we call it a gift. Because that's who we are. You know, we give it as a gift to our brother. But it's the same principle, basically.
Thank you for that answer, for entertaining us, Sir James. Next question. Since we are talking about online businesses, what comes to your mind as maybe top 2 skills that entrepreneurs need to develop, whether you are a startup or whether you are there for a long time already? Kasi bago yung panahon natin ngayon eh. Nagulat tayo sa dumating sa atin. So what do you think are at least the top 2 skills that we need to develop in ourselves?
Right. Oh, that's great. Well, first, I would say all of us are now thrown into this ocean or lake that we have to really learn technology. We have to. We owe it to ourselves and to our families to educate ourselves. Kaya kanina nung binabanggit ni Boys na nag-aaral ako ng video edit, sabi ko, wow, I mean, that's just, this is already Boyser. This is already Boyser speaking, getting further education on how to do this, whatever technology na meron tayo ngayon. Kasi, di ba sinasabi natin kasi, well, kasi hindi ako sanay dito. Pasensya na kayo, hindi naman ako techie and all. Well, in the words of Michael Gerber, paborito ko to pag sinasabi niya, suck it up. Suck it up, people. Accept it. That's what it means. Tanggapin mo. Kasi nandito tayo sa sitwasyon na probably most of us can sell virtually. And I've been mentioning this. My consulting business was wiped out for the first few months. I don't know what to do because my model has been face-to-face. And I don't really know much about this one, but again, narinig ko si Michael Gerber, parang katabi ko siya. Suck it up, James. Suck it up. Accept this. Talagang kailangan mo tong aralin. So, technology is something that you and I need to really invest time and energy. Now, the challenge with technology is it's ever so changing. Diba? Ang bilis niya magbago. Siguro yung inaral ni Boyser na video editing, bukas iba na naman eh. So sabi ni Boyce, nako naman, aaralin ko na naman ito ulit. Pero no, knowing Boyce, he will pay the price to learn it. So that's one. Number 2, siguro, Ayo, it's not more of a skill, maybe. I think it's more of an attribute to face our fears. Kasi it is scary today. It is a scary world. You know, Viktor Frankl, and we quote this guy very so often. Stephen R. Covey loves to quote Viktor Frankl. You know, he said something that's really just mind-blowing. He said, when we are no longer able to change the situation, hear me, my friends, when we are no longer able to change the situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. And that is so right. I mean, you cannot change the pandemic. You cannot change what's happening right now. Good luck trying to change the situation. And so the faster we get this realization, this Viktor Frankl wisdom, when we are no longer able to change the situation, boy, we are challenged, we are forced, we are pushed to change ourselves. The truth of the matter is that should have been our first approach in the first place. We should have been changing ourselves in the first place. So again, you don't know computers, suck it up. Okay? We have to change ourselves. Then we have to be the computer expert. Or else maybe what? The self-reliance of our family maybe depends on it. Maybe it does. And so we do it. We do it. Diba? And yeah. Sorry, Ayo, I got carried away.
It's totally a wake up. It's totally a wake up call. That's why WSR and I are, paying attention, close attention to this one. Yeah, education matters. Hindi dapat talaga tayo nagsistop. And the attitude itself
Right.
is really, really very critical nowadays. Now, boys, do you still have questions? Because if we don't have anything to ask Sir James, I know that there's something big that's gonna happen this November 12 to 14. So ready na ba tayong marinig yun? And a lot of our graduates actually are, tinatanong na nila tayo dito eh. So what's gonna happen? What is this EAA? Pag nasa Cebu ka, EEE yan eh. Pero EAA, what's EAA? And how can we participate? Is it open to all? Do we pay for anything? How can we get into this wonderful program?
Right.
Sir James.
Wow. Thank you so much, Aya, for remembering to that we talk about this. Siguro maya-maya, before we finally close, I would invite my my good friend Lloyd Gamba to later on share the poster, although it's already scattered all over Facebook. But EAA stand for Entrepreneur Academy Awards. It has been like a tradition already in the academy to recognize our brothers and sisters who have really been doing so much to change their self-reliant status and all. So EAA is basically it's a rewards program. So this year, hindi naman, well, na-surprise ako to tell you the truth, brothers and sisters. I really got surprised when I got a phone call from our CEO, Robert Hain. Sabi niya, James, start planning for this year's EAA. I was just surprised and stunned kasi nga, 'di ba, ang hirap ngayon ng panahon eh. Donors are also tight with their budgets and all. Pero sabi niya, James, the more we need. Oh, there you go. Oh, thank you so much. Did you see that? Ang ganda, ang galing. Sumabog yung COVID. Sumabog yung COVID. The Entrepreneur Academy Award. So, sabi niya, James, let's organize an EAA this year. I will make sure that I find a donor that will provide the prize money. So, I would like to let everybody know that we're so happy that for the past, ang bilis natin inorganize ito, but for 2 months, more than 200 members sent their application forms. Those who have done so much tatlo yung categories natin ngayon eh. Those who have redesigned their businesses, meaning from their original business, dapat i-redesign nila eh. Kasi hindi na siya gumagana ngayon eh. Yung iba naman nag-replace talaga. Iniwan yung dating negosyo, pinalitan ng bago para lang mag-survive at mag-thrive. Yung iba naman talaga, nagsimula talaga. Dati hindi sila negosyante eh. Dati nagtatrabaho sila o dati hindi sila ninegosyo. So we have 3 categories na nag-apply yung mga members natin. And the first round of judging already happened. The top 60 were chosen, the top 60 finalists, so to speak. And then last week, we had the final judging virtually. And so na-judge na sila, but we will not announce until November 12, 13, and 14. So brothers and sisters, I would like to invite everybody who is listening to this webinar, please join us. We will announce the winners. So that's going to be wonderful. We will have a teaser video coming. Actually, it's already posted. And you will see the pictures ng mga sumali. Nakakatuwa sila. They are just so inspiring. But this is the first time we did it virtually. Virtually lahat. Pati yung pagtanggap namin, pagbigay namin sa mga judges, pagbasa nila, pati yung judging deliberation were all done via Zoom. And it was just wonderful to witness them telling their stories of how they were able to pivot in the midst of the pandemic. These are heroes for me, Ayo and boys. They are heroes for me and for you, I know, because they are great examples of those who chose not to change the situation, but to change themselves through their efforts. And so, 12, 13, 14, 9 o'clock, simulan na natin to. 3 araw na magkakahiwalay, hindi siya buong araw kasi mahirap kung mag-webinar ng buong araw eh. Marami tayong ginagawa, iba-iba rin. So, tsaka sa Amerika gabi ito. Hindi lang siya announcement ng winners. We also have great speakers that we have invited. I already have a confirmed speaker or speakers that I can mention now because they are sure to come and speak and inspire. Of course, the founders of the Academy. Oh my goodness, I am just excited. Steve and Betty. This is the blessing, boys and Ayo, of virtually. Di ba kasi dati, alam lang natin, magsasalita sila, pagbabiyay sila sa Pilipinas eh. Pero ngayon, dahil nga virtually, in the comforts of their room, nandun si Steve and Betty, i-address nila tayo. So Steve and Betty are sure to attend and speak. Our CEO, Robert Hain, oh my goodness. Robert Hain is speaking as well, and I'm excited about that. And then I got a confirmation this morning from Doug Holmes. Some of you probably still remember the very first general conference during the pandemic. I think it was April. President Douglas Holmes of the General Young Men Presidency spoke. I'm referring to that same Doug Holmes, who is now, I'm so happy to say and announce, is the chairman of the board of the Academy for Creating Enterprise International. No less than Doug Holmes, the former first counselor in the Young Men General Presidency. This guy is just an inspiration. Those of you who were with us during the, I think, April conference ng Academy virtually, you would agree with me. He's just amazing. And so he said, James, I would be honored to speak. Sabi ko, Doug, here's a story, my friends. Here we go again. My goodness. We have a few more minutes. Last year, pinag-prepare na namin to, boys and Ayo eh. Last year pala kasi, di ba, gano'n naman tayo mag-prepare eh. 2019, pinag-meetingan na namin yung 2020. Di ba? So what happened? When 2020 outbreak happened, all of our plans, out of the window, right? Pero merong nag-retain. Kasi nung last year, 2019, nung pinag-meetingan namin yung conference for 2020, the inspiration that came to us as a team was Kaizen. Practice Kaizen. And we know that Kaizen is the Japanese term for continuous or never-ending improvement. And so, nung pinaplano namin ito ngayong November 12, 13, 14, it was Mike Ragrario, one of our regional coordinators. Sabi niya, James, di ba't pinag-isipan na natin ito last year? Ang sabi nating theme. Kasi nagtatanong kami, anong theme natin? Sabi ni Mike, James, can I remind everyone? The theme that we decided last year was Practice Kaizen. And then, it came to us yung aming subtitle, overcoming the crisis through continuous improvement. Yung mga sumali ng EAA are perfect examples of those who continuously pivot, improve, whatever the word you want, in order for them to become self-reliant and thrive in this pandemic. So let's celebrate Kaizen, right? I mean, the spirit of continuous and never-ending improvement. Doug Holmes and others will speak about this principle, and it's just gonna be a wonderful virtual gathering. Lahat hindi lang mga SJMB grads, hindi lang chapter members na nag-graduate sa SJMB and ACE. We would like to invite everybody who are just excited to be inspired and learn to join us. The Zoom link is there, or if you want to watch via Facebook Live. And I hope you will enjoy our mascot for this year, si Oscar na naka face mask.
That will be fun. So there you have it, 2020 Entrepreneur Academy Awards. We will witness those who will be awarded. What an inspiration. And we will also listen to some of the best keynote speakers. And para tuloy-tuloy ang ating improvement. I love this. Sumabog nga talaga si COVID. Lloyd said that she will show a short video for EAA. Can we share that teaser? Go ahead, Lloyd. Sir James?
Yes.
Let's share that now. Go ahead, Lloyd.
Oh, thank you. Surprise sa akin to. Hindi ko alam na nandito na siya. Galing.
Exciting! Kilabot! Boys, ba't di tayo sumali dyan?
Kaya nga, next year, dapat andyan tayo next year. Well, James, this is just exciting. Again, there's just so many revealing informations na binigay niyo sa amin. And thank you very much, James and the Academy for Creating Enterprise. We're looking forward for all of these activities and more. And hopefully, the experiment that we're doing right now will actually pave the way for a more more structured and longer relationship with this Start Now in SGMB. Okay, Ayo?
Yes, boys. So I think as we close this webinar tonight, we will still ask Sir James to give us some parting words. And of course, once again, Sir James, please do invite them how easy it is for all of our members to get access to the Start Now business training. Go ahead, Sir James.
Yes, thank you so much. Again, Ayo and boys, I cannot thank you enough for helping organize this. Wow, I'm just delighted, super delighted. Thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts. Yes, it's very easy. It's a wonderful way to get the learning on how to start your online IGA, we call it, or small business, through the Start Now program. Please get in touch with our self WSR managers because we work with them. And so when you get in touch with them, and then you get in touch with some of our chapter officers and members and our regional coordinators, then it's so easy to put that together. Now, in addition, after they graduate, then become chapter members, and then the mentoring continues to happen. Can you imagine that, brothers and sisters, to always have like a Jay Cruz, like a Rino Bayani? My goodness, these are the people I call up when I have issues about my life, no, about my business and all. These are the people that I love to talk to. And so you call them up, and these are people who are ready to pick up the phone. We have Joel, who is just amazing, just doing a lot of great miracles up there in the north. We have, of course, Lloyd and Mike. All of these wonderful people are mentors as part of the continuing education. The internship program. Randy from Mindanao, oh my goodness. Coach Randy, can you imagine that? You get Coach Randy for free when you are, when you are an SGMB, and so internship is another wonderful program that the Academy offers when you graduate from the program. Internship, before the pandemic, we fly you to a different place so that there's no competition. If you would like to learn baking and all of those kind of stuff, then that's just available. So, well, I would like to thank our chapter officers from the bottom of our hearts. I mean, you are our heroes, our chapter officers, members who are helping one another. We're limited. Ilan lang po kami sa academy. Yung binanggit ko po na 6 na magigiting na regional coordinators, and I am part of the academy. Kerer is part of the academy. Our finance officers na napaka-stricto, di ba? Buti na lang. and Cynthia, my wife, is of course part of the academy, and we're just limited. But with our chapter officers and chapter members just reaching out and helping one another, it's just a wonderful opportunity to serve together. So, brothers and sisters, for my parting words, there are 2 formulas. One formula is get your goals. We hear that a lot. Let me recommend a better formula. Grow towards your goals. Forget about getting your goals. Forget about getting it. Okay? That's going to stress you. And I don't even recommend that formula. I offer you a better formula. Grow towards your goals. Grow towards it. Educate yourselves. Connect with people who are that we're here to help one another. And when we grow towards our goals, we automatically get our goals. And so once again, forget about getting your goals. Think about growing towards your goals. Thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity. Oh my goodness. I can go on and on, but we have to stop and sleep, but thank you.
All right. All right, so in behalf of WSR and Academy for Creating Enterprise, sa lahat ng nanonood ngayon, thank you very much for tuning in hanggang katapusan. So you can see this again, view this again. This is in Facebook. This will be there forever. So if you have missed something or you want to preview again something, please do visit us. And siguro James, maybe if you could also announce in Facebook sino-sino yung mga regional coordinators, their numbers, how they can be reached, so that we can start seeing more start now happening all over the Philippines. All right, so together with Ayo, would like to thank you. And so it's sign up for now, but it's not bye. We'll see you again next Friday. Same time. Hopefully FB will cooperate and our internet will be all right. All right, see you again, my friend. Maraming salamat.
Thank you. Thank you,
Bye,
guys.
everybody.
Thank you.